To On the Record at FoxNews.com. That's On the Record at FoxNews.com. I want to know what you have to say. And thanks for being with us tonight. I'll see you all again tomorrow. Until then, keep it here on Fox, America, the network America trusts for fair and balanced news. Good night.
The O'Reilly Factor is on tonight. Forensic experts are all over the Chandra Levy body site. We'll talk with a man who has been there before. Governor Jesse Ventura vetoes a bill that would require Minnesota school children to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. We'll debate that. And a 13-year-old girl is murdered by a man who picked her up on the internet. Every parent should see this report. Caution, you're about to enter a no-spin zone. The Factor begins in 90 seconds.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Donna Fiducia. Forensics experts are trying to determine how Chandra Levy died. Medical examiners discovered a crack in her skull found in a Washington park, but it's not known yet whether it happened before or after her death. Police say they may once again question Levy's former lover, California Congressman Gary Condit. And Levy family lawyer says that any clue might help solve this crime.
Somebody out there knows what happened to Chandra, and we hope that they will come forward and give us a tiny detail that we can give to the police, or that they'll give directly to the police, that will help us identify what we believe are her killer or killers.
A memorial for Chandra Levy will be held this coming Tuesday in her hometown of Modesto, California. Well, Lady Bird Johnson was released from an Austin hospital today. The former First Lady was admitted 3 weeks ago after suffering a mild stroke. The Johnson family says she made a remarkable recovery. She's 89 years old, the widow of the former President Lyndon Baines Johnson. And Madonna debuting on the London stage to thunderous applause. The audience leapt to its feet as she walked on the stage on the opening night of Up for Grabs, her first stage role since a 1988 Broadway role in David Mamet's Speed the Plow. We'll see you at the bottom of the hour with an update. The O'Reilly Factor is coming up next, right here on the most powerful name in news. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thank you for watching us tonight. We'll have the latest on the Chandra Levy investigation in a moment, but first, a stunning veto by Minnesota Governor Jesse Ventura. That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. The governor has said no to a bill that would have required Minnesota students to recite the Pledge of Allegiance once a week, but local school boards would have retained the power to opt out of that requirement for any reason. Mr. Ventura said forcing kids to say a political pledge is what the Taliban and Nazis do. The governor also has a problem with the one nation under God line because he's not a big fan of organized religion, and he says that patriotism and religion cannot be mandated, that all expressions of it should be optional. I say that the public schools have a responsibility to teach American children about the values of loyalty, honesty, and love of country, the Judeo-Christian values that the founders based our Constitution on. All schools mandate rules. The kids can't wear certain clothes, must address the teachers as Ms. or Mr., and must respect school property. Likewise, because the school is paid for by the American taxpayer, the symbols of our country, the flag, the national anthem, and the Pledge of Allegiance should be respected and the significance of them taught. In many schools today, that's not being done, and it should be mandated. American students have a responsibility to learn about and respect their country. Anyway, Governor Ventura and I shot it out on the Radio Factor earlier today. In every public school system, Governor, paid for by the taxpayers, the public schools have to be loyal to their country in the sense that they have to uphold democracy, our system of government, because it's the public school system. That's what we are here. We're teaching people.
Bill, I will agree with you, but it shouldn't be mandated.
But the kid has an opt-out. The kid has an opt-out. He doesn't have to say it.
Now. And as far as Judeo-Christian goes, excuse me, didn't the people flee this country because they didn't want government-sponsored religion in their former country, and now we're lopping ourselves right back into
There's a difference between tradition and religion, okay? No government imposed religion, but our whole system of government and criminal justice system is based on Judeo-Christian tradition. You know that.
Idea then, Bill. I got an idea then. I think there are plenty of adults that need the same doctrine. So if we're going to do it in the public schools, let's mandate it in all the factories.
All right. There is no question that America's public school system has taken a sharp turn to the left over the past couple of decades. Students have far too much power, and some are not being taught the basic disciplines of life. That being said, I would give every student the option of not reciting the Pledge of Allegiance because I respect dissent. But all students would have to rise while the pledge was recited out of respect for the country that is educating them. Governor Ventura should send the bill back to the legislature with some suggestions. But an outright veto of a worthy patriotic gesture in Minnesota's public schools is not what is best for the kids, and that should always be the top priority. And that's a memo. Now for the top story tonight, a dissenting point of view to my position. Joining us from Minneapolis is Marshall Tannick, a civil liberties attorney. So, Counselor, where am I going wrong here?
Well, I think you went wrong in about 3 different respects, Bill. First of all, I think that this measure was properly vetoed by Governor Ventura, who I think really showed a great deal of political courage in doing so. I think this kind of measure is inappropriate. I think it's improper, and it's illegal as well. There was a 1943 United States Supreme Court case that ruled that it is unconstitutional to force or mandate students to give the Pledge of Allegiance in schools. Now, I know this bill did have some opt-out provisions, but the basic concept underlying that Supreme Court decision is essentially what Governor Ventura articulated in his radio joust with you this afternoon, that states should not be imposing ideology and forcing or mandating students or others what to say.
All right, now let me stop you there. What ideology is being forced on a student by reciting the Pledge of Allegiance?
Twofold. First of all, the acknowledgement of some type of fidelity or loyalty to the country, which I think is a good idea. I am not saying people should not be loyal or should be disloyal. What I am saying is I think it imposes an ideology to make people say that, firstly. And secondly, the pledge has a religious element to it. It uses the words under God. I don't think there's anything wrong with people articulating that, feeling that, believing that. I think it becomes very tenuous and troublesome when the state mandates people what to say. Because, Bill, the flip side of freedom of speech is freedom not to speak. And when government tells people what they have to say or what they have to think, that's every bit as odious as stopping them from expressing
Yeah, but
their views.
number one, you're empowering children, all right, who are ordered what to say all the time. Would it be unconstitutional or unprofessional or wrong to demand that students address me as a teacher as Mr. O'Reilly? Is that wrong?
Absolutely not.
All right, so you're forcing them to say that. They might want to call me Bill or Schmo or something else. You're forcing them, Counselor, to say Mr. O'Reilly because out of respect for the teaching position. Now, out of respect for the country, the students mandated to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, I said I wouldn't force them, but they would have to rise. They didn't have to say the words if they didn't want to. But for the majority of children in Minnesota and in the United States of America, the patriotic exercise of the pledge is a good, positive, instructive thing. And guys like you, with all due respect, Counselor, are destroying that.
Well, first of all, I gave the pledge. When I was a young man, we had in school, we did do the Pledge of Allegiance.
And it didn't hurt you, did it?
It didn't hurt me at all.
Okay. And it wasn't forced upon you in the sense that there was a punitive attachment to it, was there?
No, it wasn't forced. It was a school policy. But I think there's a major difference between giving the state the imprimatur of saying this is a law and we're going to make it.
But if you had what I had, that the student didn't have to say it, but only had to rise when it was said, would you object to that?
Absolutely. I think that's a red herring.
Why? Why would you object to it? The student doesn't have to say it.
Because if they have to rise and honor the views expressed...
No, they have to rise out of respect for the country. Just as they have to call me Mr. O'Reilly out of respect for me being a teacher. They might not respect me, but they have to call me Mr. O'Reilly even if they don't like me. See? There's the difference. You have to respect the teacher. You have to respect the country in a public school setting.
Well, I think it's very coercive to force students to do that. And as I said, when I was...
To do what? Call me Mr. O'Reilly?
No.
Then what's the difference? What's the difference?
To have to express some kind of acknowledgement of an ideological and philosophical view that they or their parents may disagree with.
Okay, they might disagree with calling me Mr. O'Reilly because they don't like the way I present my history lesson. Come on. The school mandates certain behavior to all students. And to say in a public school that you have to respect the flag of your country, you're telling me that's coercive?
Absolutely. I think it would be comparable to imposing some kind of religious prayers in the school.
I can't believe it. I just can't believe that you think that a public school system paid for by taxpayer money under the aegis of the United States of America can't tell the student that the flag must be respected. What are you going to do if a student spits on the flag there, Counselor?
I didn't say that the students can't be told to respect the flag. That
But
can be
all
part
we're
of the
saying is you
curriculum.
have to rise. You don't have to say the pledge. Just rise, show respect.
Well,
and you're saying that's coercive.
That's the imposition of an ideology upon the students.
It
That's
is.
wholly different than a legitimate curricular project or a
Civics
teaching
isn't a legitimate curricular.
This isn't civics. This is
Sure
telling
it is.
people what they have to say and what
No,
they have to believe.
It's exactly civics. That's what it is. The Pledge of Allegiance to your country. That's civics, Counselor.
No, not the way it's posed in the state law. I mean, we have, in Minnesota, I think most of the school districts, and this is probably true throughout the country, do have their own policies requiring students to give the Pledge of Allegiance or participate in other patriotic duties. I don't think those are necessarily illegal, but I think when the state comes in, passes a law and says, thou shalt do the following, you must believe this, you must think this. We'll give you a chance to opt out, but that's inherently coercive. I think it bridges on a violation of the First Amendment, and I'm not the only one. The Supreme Court unanimously said so in 1943, and no one has
But don't
challenged that law.
distort it. If you had an opt-out, as I told you, the Supreme Court could not ban that. Counsel, let the audience decide as always. Thank you. Next on the rundown, Fox News ace reporter Rita Cosby with the very latest on the Chandra Levy investigation. And later on, a 13-year-old girl murdered after socializing on the internet. Wait till you hear about this. Right back.
Experience the new National Geographic Channel. Spectacular new shows. Around-the-clock adventure. The continuing story of life on Earth every day of the week. A new channel. A new National Geographic. Log on to nationalgeographic.com and request the new NGC. Always wonder.
Hurry in for the Great Paint Event going on now at True Value, where prices are dropping on brand name items throughout the store. Right now, True Value's window and door caulk is just $1.97. Premium XO Rust Spray Enamel and Ultimate Finish 9-inch roller covers, your choice, just $1.87. Plus, get up to $71 in rebates on everything you need for your painting projects. Hurry in for the Great Paint Event at True Value and get great savings throughout the store. True Value. Help is just around the corner.
It starts by rejecting the notion of what is and embracing what will be.
Passing by.
The all-new Ariel from Suzuki. It has more features, more standard horsepower, and better acceleration than Honda Civic and Ford Focus.
Drive on.
You knew this was coming. You just didn't know from where. Introducing the new Suzuki Ariel.
Get up and go.
Lease a Suzuki Ariel S today for $199 per month with only $1849 to start.
This is your own personal assembly line, where deals are made just for you. Like this week's special, the Compact Presario 6000 TPC. It's got an Intel Pentium 4 processor that delivers performance where you need it most. You'll also get a monitor, 20-gig hard drive, and tons of other great features, all for just $699 after a $30 rebate. Hurry and call 1-800-329-9348, and we'll line one up for you.
In fact, a follow-up segment tonight, the skeletal remains of Chandra Levy are being examined right now by forensics experts in D.C. With us here in the studio is Rita Cosby, host of Fox Wire on the weekends, who has been following the case for us. And from Pittsburgh, forensic pathologist, I should say, Dr. Cyril Wecht. All right, we'll start with you, Rita. What's new today? Give us the latest.
Well, D.C. police are saying that they're looking at all suspects. They said that everything is on the table. I mean, I said, look, is Gary Condit eliminated? And they said, no way, we're looking at everybody. Nothing is off the table. One thing that is interesting, I just found this out a few moments ago, they did find some slight trauma to her skull. Now, they only found a portion of her skull, but there is a pretty big crack in her skull. They're trying to find out if that happened possibly as the cause of death or if it's post-mortem after the fact. Looking into a couple different things. Another thing that's interesting, Bill, they are looking at, and they're saying not seriously, there are some reports that they say are somewhat inflated, this is according to D.C. police that I've been talking to, about a case of a 20-year-old man who was convicted just in February of this year.
Yeah, we heard about that yesterday, who was sexually assaulted two women in this park.
What's interesting, these two women were blonde.
Right.
Different than Chandra Levy.
The evidence that I've locked in on yesterday and today are the computer records that show that she looked at this park and a mansion within the park before she left the house.
Immediately before.
Immediately before. The police know that. Now, you don't believe she was jogging, do you?
No, I don't. And police do not believe she was jogging. That area was so thickly wooded, so many rocks in that area, it's not a common place to jog. So they're saying she must have been brought there, or that could be a secondary site even. At the top of it, what's interesting, there's a grove area, as they're describing, a place where even a car could park. So it is possible that either she was lured to that area or that part was just a location where maybe they dropped the body off.
And now she left her house, according to police records, by what time?
They believe around 1 p.m. Eastern time on May 1st, and they say that because she was surfing the website from about 9:30 that morning till 1. They could check easily on her, on her laptop computer. She's someone who talks on the phone a lot, had a lot of friends, very talkative, including making a lot of calls to Gary Condit. Police have no record of any phone calls after 1 p.m.
Okay, so 1 p.m. Or in the early afternoon, she leaves her house. You don't feel that anybody's going to commit a murder in broad daylight, but maybe if they could get her into this dense woods. Now, I want to go to Dr. Wecht in Pittsburgh. Doctor, you have seen cases like this where the body's been discovered after a long period of time. What can you realistically get out of a site like that?
It's very difficult. I did autopsies on 2 women tourists in the Bahamas, one of whom was skeletonized, and I've just testified in a murder case. Well, it's the 4th time around. You have a difficult time in determining the cause of death if there is no evidence of bony injury. This finding of a crack in the skull is quite significant. I am sure that the forensic pathologist and the forensic anthropologist working at the medical examiner's office by now perhaps have ascertained through their direct examination with x-ray studies whether it is a true ante-mortem trauma, injury prior to death, or a post-mortem artifact. And that will be key to this case. If it is a fracture, then there's good reason to believe that that was the cause of death. A craniocerebral injury, certainly, obviously an injury that would have incapacitated her, permitting her to be easily strangled or suffocated. The soft tissues of the neck are all gone. There is a small bone, the hyoid bone. There's the Adam's apple, the thyroid cartilage. Once in a while, they're fractured in strangulation cases, not often. And the younger person, like Chandra Levy, they're quite flexible, and they have a lot of give, and they are fractured less frequently. So I believe that it's, unless this crack in the skull proves to be a real fracture, they are not going to be able to do anything but conjecture as to the cause of death. And the most reasonable and likely mechanism would have been manual or ligature strangulation combined possibly with suffocation.
All right. Now, Rita, do we know how these other girls were assaulted in the park by this guy who's in jail now?
He apparently came up behind them and had a knife. Both of them escaped. And what is interesting, as I pointed out, both of them were blondes. And what's interesting, we can't really say what happened, but in this particular case, obviously, typical with sexual predators, things get worse. It escalates. Their violence escalates. So what some people are saying, these other ones, they felt intimidated by him, but they were saying they were pretty easy to get away.
They got to be leaning on this guy now.
No question.
Doctor, from your view of it in Pittsburgh, and again, this is you're a professional, I see it as one of 2 things. The random, somebody jumped out of the bushes, grabbed her, assaulted and killed her, or a setup. You know, where she was said, meet me someplace, obviously this park or the mansion, people she knew, bang, it was an organized hit. Any other thing?
Yes, well, the third possibility, of course, is that she was murdered elsewhere, and then the body was dumped there, which Rita referred to. Well, the other things that are important here obviously have to do with the terrain. They have to be extremely meticulous, take their time, not be rushed by anybody in sifting through all the dirt and debris to see if there are any artifacts of any kind, ranging from, you know, something that might have been torn off like a button or so on, to look for anything that might be.
Right. Well, you got to assume that's happening.
Oh, yes, right.
Because, you know, they got the best people there. Rita, I'm going to give you the last word on this.
Well, it's interesting. Tomorrow I'm hearing that Billy Martin, who's the attorney representing the Levy family, will have a press conference in Washington. His attorneys will be there, and they're going to say, look, we want to talk to Gary Condit. Whether he had something to do with this or not, Did he ever meet her in the park? Was there anything romantic?
Yeah, that's kind of grandstanding. You know what that is. Embarrass the guy, make sure that he doesn't get to run away.
But on the other hand, they have to look at all options.
Absolutely.
Including, and they also said they're going to go talk to this guy, too, this one who's in prison.
I bring in everybody. Hey, doctor in Pittsburgh, thank you.
Thank
Rita,
you.
as always.
Thanks.
Directly ahead, a terrible story, but an important one for parents. A 13-year-old Catholic schoolgirl brutally murdered after an internet rendezvous. We'll have details on it when we come back.
The O'Reilly Factor is brought to you by Terminix.
I invented this little beauty to identify, pinpoint, and destroy all termite species.
Here's a better idea. More homeowners trust the Terminix Unlimited Lifetime Protection Plan. Call 1-800-TERMINX.
A legend reborn.
Cadillac CTS. Breakthrough.
If the woman you'll be in 20 years could talk to the woman you are today, she'd say take care of yourself now. With new Bayer Women's Aspirin Plus Calcium. It has calcium to help fight osteoporosis and low-strength aspirin to reduce the risk of another heart attack. Heart disease is the #1 killer of women. So talk to your doctor about new Bayer Women's. And years from now, you'll tell yourself, thank you.
Aspirin's not appropriate for everyone, so be sure to talk to your doctor before you begin an aspirin regimen. Bayer. Take it for pain. Take it for life.
Well, Mr. Limbaugh, what has our little agitator been up to this week? Gluing Mrs. Brendel to her chair? Bringing in your sister's underpants for show and tell? Science project took out East Wing? Do you know where smart Alex like you end up?
On the radio?
Rush Limbaugh has moved to News Talk 620 KTLK. News Talk for the Great Northwest.
In addition to her great beauty, my grandma used to make the most magnificent pizza pie. And now you can get that incredible taste in a new pizza from Round Table. It's called the Mamazella. It's got rich Italian meats and cheeses, topped with seasoned strips or golden crust. In fact, it's so good, I think it's even better than my grandma's. Sorry, Grandma.
The new Mamazella Pizza Pie. Italian meats and cheeses, topped with seasoned strips of golden crust. Only at Round Table.
Segment is brought to you by Fidelity Investments, because you're not just invested, you're personally invested.
In the Impact segment tonight, while the national media covers the terrible Chandra Levy situation, a 13-year-old girl named Christina Long was murdered last Monday in Connecticut. Christina was in the 6th grade at St. Peter's Catholic School in Danbury. She disappeared Friday, and now police say a 25-year-old man whom she met on the internet strangled her to death. Saul Dos Res will soon be charged with the crime. Joining us now from Hartford is Dave Altamari, a reporter for the Hartford Courant. This story is kind of a cautionary tale for any parent in the United States. This girl led a double life. This Christina, 13 years old. Her parents got divorced last fall. She moved in with her aunt, Shelley Riley. And at that point, it looks like that Christina went kind of wild on the internet. You want to pick it up?
Hi, Bill. How you doing? She moved in with her aunt sometime last summer, and it appears, as is with a lot of these kind of cases, that her friends and the kids in the neighborhood knew a lot more about what she was doing than her aunt did. Her friends noticed that she stopped playing football, she stopped playing tag, and she spent all her time in her bedroom on her computer. And at some point, at this point she was only 12 years old. At some point she met this guy from Greenwich, Sal Duras, through one of these chat rooms. She had several web pages of her own, and he has told the authorities that they had met at least once before and had sex before last Friday night.
All right. Now, this guy's an illegal immigrant. He's here, you know, God knows why. He kills this girl, but this girl was a cheerleader, head of the cheerleaders in St. Peter's.
Co-captain.
she had her own website, apparently, right?
Two.
Two websites. Now, was she putting provocative pictures of herself on the website?
They were pictures that certainly didn't look like a 13-year-old girl, all made up, and there were a lot of provocative statements on the website.
Okay, and a published report says she had sex with a bunch of men that she met on the internet. Have you checked that out?
I believe there's still, that's a little unclear. There are certainly other people that they know she was in contact with, that she met through these chat rooms.
All right. Now, does this Dos Reis say they had sex before?
Yes. He has told them that he had sex with her at least once before.
All right. Does he say why he killed her?
He claims that it was that he accidentally strangled her while they were having sex in his car at the mall.
Very good. And she was dressed up. She was dropped off at the mall by her aunt.
Yes.
And this is one of these cases where it looks to me two things in play here. Whenever there's a divorce in any family, the child acts out in some way. I mean, it's inevitable that it happens, and it looks like this girl acted out in a sexual way and took advantage of the internet to do that. But she wasn't being very closely supervised by her guardian and aunt, it doesn't seem to me, if she's running around meeting 25-year-old guys.
Most of the people that we've talked to said that they didn't believe the aunt knew what was going on as far as her computer use. Her parents have been divorced for quite a while. 10 years, as a matter of fact. She first lived with her father, then she lived with her mother until her mother...
But something happened last fall, I guess, to make her, or last summer, as you said, to make her leave and move in. What was that?
Well, her mother suddenly left and went to Utah.
All right, well, there you go. You know, that kind of traumatic thing causes kids to do nutty stuff. Have you interviewed Shelley Riley, the aunt, and said, hey, how come you weren't checking out what she was doing on the internet?
Shelley has only done, she basically did an interview on national television yesterday, and that's the only interview she's done since
Did she answer that question in the interview?
I believe what she said is that she was aware that Christina was using the internet, but she assumed that she was in contact with other teenagers and with her friends, and didn't realize how much she had gotten into it.
All right. Well, once again, we're doing this story because, you know, the Chandra Levy thing, it's all the publicity. This girl, Christina Long, 13 years old, brutally killed, undocumented alien, confesses to the crime. National media really not covering it very much. You gotta look at what your kid's doing on the internet. You just have to. Dave, thanks very much. We appreciate it. Plenty more ahead as the factor moves along this evening. One of the most racially charged words in the English language may become illegal to use in the city of Baltimore. And some American high schools have had to cancel proms because of dirty dancing. We hope you stay tuned for those reports.
Fox Saturday. Take a wild ride when cops tackle armed and dangerous criminals and a fugitive's escape attempt gets out of control. On a full hour of Cops. Then, years ago, this boy fell victim to a child abductor. Now you know him as Busy Bone from the rap group Bone Thugs and Harmony. Hear how John Walsh saved him from a childhood nightmare.
Who knows what would have happened to me and who knows where I would have been.
America's Most Wanted, all new Saturday on Fox.
Experience the new National Geographic Channel. Spectacular new shows. Around-the-clock adventure. The continuing story of life on Earth every day of the week. A new channel. A new National Geographic. Log on to nationalgeographic.com and request the new NGC. Always wonder.
When my family found out I was on drugs, they were devastated.
It was killing them, you know, it was killing them.
It tears your family up more than it does you.
My dad was frantic, and he looked at me and he said, we're not going to gamble with your life.
I wanted to have my family back, and that's when my mother found Narconon.
If you or someone you love has a drug or alcohol problem, call Narconon today at 1-800-468-6933.
Saturday, maybe no news really is good news. Wall Street's been suffering since new terror warnings came out, and investors are scared stockless. Could a major sell-off end up selling you out? And which stocks could be the first to go? It's our special business edition of Forbes on Fox and Cashin' In. Stay with a business team you can trust. Tonight, he's a man on a mission. U2's Bono is putting AIDS and poverty in Africa in the political spotlight. How's he doing? We ask him tonight on Your World with Neil Cavuto.
In the Unresolved Problems segment tonight, the use of inflammatory words. A member of the Baltimore City Council wants the N-word banned in that community. The resolution to make the word unacceptable will be debated next month. I don't know what kind of debate we should have here, but joining us now from Washington is Councilman Melvin Stukes. He'll tell us. I don't want to use the word, Councilman, if you don't mind. I think we can get the segment across without using the pejorative. It's a word that everybody knows, racially charged, used by whites in a very vile manner, but used in by some blacks in a very casual manner. And what do you hope to achieve with this ban?
Well, what I hope is, first of all, it's not a ban. We know that the Constitution protects the First Amendment protects the freedom of speech, and you can't ban words. However, this is a bold attempt through a resolution form which carries no enforcement powers whatsoever. But it is a bold attempt of this council person and 9 other council people in Baltimore to raise the conscious level and the conscious and self-esteem level to refrain from using the word that we know is the most offensive word in the English language.
All right. But the truth is that coming from whites, it carries a lot more offense than coming from blacks, isn't it?
Well, it carries the same effect. Of course it does, because it was emerged coming from blacks during slavery and the like. So yes, it does carry more stinging power, if you will. However, knowing the etymology of it, the origin of it, and the purpose of the words, which was to take away our entire history of being brought over to America, the N-word basically took and lumped all tribes and everyone together, and just to totally destroy that cultural means of what we are as a people. And once people know exactly what the word really means in that frame, is my attempt to bring knowledge. Knowledge is power, and we would like to see people to have the genesis of what this word is.
It's very interesting. And you're right. And you know, the goal of that word was to denigrate the black race. I mean, it was
that is absolutely correct.
Is to make that those people, your people, below Caucasians. And
that is correct.
And you know, I never really even thought about that, and I'm glad you brought that point out.
Well, now, that's what this is. This is what this is all about. We will be doing a hearing in Baltimore, so this is an invitation to America. For all, black, white, and tall, fat, and otherwise, to come to Baltimore on Wednesday, June 19, 5 p.m. in the City Council chambers in City Hall in Baltimore, and let's begin to dialogue about this.
Now, how are you going to stop the rappers from using the word, which is used in hundreds of rap and hip hop songs?
Well,
how are you going to? And is that hurtful? Is it hurtful to use that slang?
Yes, it is. It is absolutely hurtful, and the attempt again is to raise a conscious level of it. My thing is this: we'll say to rappers and to say to anyone, there is no other ethnic group on the planet that use defamatory, demeaning words such as the N-word on itself or in any artistic or cultural type form to demean itself. So why is it that we are the only group that allows this? It's because we have sit back too long and allowed this to creep back into society to a point through artistic means, through video and the like, to believe that it has become socially or culturally acceptable.
You know, and I
am one standing tall to say it is not culturally or socially acceptable.
And not just the N-word. You know, they're using the
B-word, the W-word.
Absolutely, to denigrate women. To denigrate women, they use that word.
Nobody else does that. Nobody else does that.
And you're saying...
When Michael Jackson, the most popular entertainer on the planet, wanted to use one word or something that involved the Jewish community, overnight that record came off of the shelf before it even hit the shelf.
That's true.
The same thing with Tupac Shakur. He wanted to use one that was going to be demeaning to Jewish women. It did not happen, and there was no resolution done by any Jewish elected official or anything else. It just said it wasn't going to happen.
It was a lot of pressure.
The community
right.
stood.
All right, Councilman.
And off it came.
We applaud your effort, and we appreciate you coming on The Factor. Thank you very much.
A pleasure being with you.
When we come back, is it dancing or sex? Some high schools are canceling proms because of this. Right back.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Donna Fiducia. Just one day after the remains of Chandra Levy were found, police are already questioning one man. Mike Emanuel joins us live from Rock Creek Park with the latest development. Mike.
Well, hi, Donna. Fox News has learned Chandra Levy's skull has a fracture in it. The question is, did that contribute to her death or happen after the fact? D.C. police investigators are searching for the tiniest forensic evidence, hairs, clothing fibers, any clue to help clear up how and when Chandra Levy died. Forensic anthropologists from the Smithsonian have been brought in as well to lend their expertise to help with the cause of death. D.C. police, they may want to speak with Congressman Gary Condit again. They've already spoken with him at least 4 times. D.C. investigators are also looking to question Ingmar Gwandike. Gwandike was arrested after attacking 2 women joggers last year in Rock Creek Park along Broad Branch Trail.
I think we have to go back and re-interview a lot of people we looked at, given what we now know about the place where the body has been recovered. We were looking in this area and actually nationwide for attacks against women or women who were missing.
Gwandike, the man behind bars, attacked women joggers along Broad Branch Trail. The significance, Chandra Levy's remains were also found near Broad Branch Trail. Donna?
Thank you. All right.
Experience the new National Geographic Channel. Spectacular new shows. Around-the-clock adventure. The continuing story of life on Earth every day of the week. A new channel. A new National Geographic. Log on to nationalgeographic.com and request the new NGC. Always wonder.
Fox Saturday. Take a wild ride when cops tackle armed and dangerous criminals and a fugitive's escape attempt gets out of control. On a full hour of Cops. Then, years ago, this boy fell victim to a child abductor. Now you know him as Busy Bone from the rap group Bone Thugs and Harmony. Hear how John Walsh saved him from a childhood nightmare.
Who knows what would have happened to me and who knows where I would have been.
America's Most Wanted, all new Saturday on Fox. When it comes to selecting a mate, why is it always up to bachelors?
I'm going on a man hunt.
Ladies, now it's your turn to choose.
Decision. Which one am I going to pick?
On June 2nd, 5 single women travel to Alaska, where 50 rugged bachelors,
each one of these guys is ready to be married,
will try to win their hearts.
How would you like to go on a date, Riley?
Right.
Now, in a place where men outnumber women more than anywhere else.
He's a hunk of burning love, and he likes me.
The game is on, and the prize is marriage.
I fell in love with her right off the bat.
This summer, we're heating up.
Did you see his body? Whoa.
The coolest place on Earth.
I'm completely in love with him. I would move anywhere for love.
Bachelorettes in Alaska. A new series coming June 2nd to Fox.
I'm Dominic Canesa. You may have seen me on TV with one of my families. On Saturday, June 1st, I'll be joining the YAI National Institute for People with Disabilities family for YAI Central Park Challenge. Call 212-273-6526.
Thanks for staying with us. I'm Bill O'Reilly in the second Unresolved Problem segment tonight. Is it dancing or is it sex? All across the country, high school proms are taking place, and some schools are telling students what they can and can't do on the dance floor. That's because freak dancing and other gyrating trends are closer to sex than they are to disco. Dances have been canceled in schools in Los Angeles, Iowa City, Anchorage, Alaska, and many other places because some of the kids are simply out of control. Joining us now from our New York studios, Dr. Henry Paul, a psychiatrist and author of the book, Is My Child Okay? And from Washington, Heather Sermo from the Conservative Family Research Council. All right, Heather, now, it's on the surface, it is, and I think everybody watching today, even Dr. Paul, would say, look, it's inappropriate to go to a high school prom and gyrate around, look like you're simulating sex. I don't think any clear-thinking adult would say that's appropriate. But the question comes is, what should the schools do? Should they knock out this altogether? Should there be ironclad rules? What do you want to see?
Well, that's really up to the individual school districts to make that decision. And what I'm saying is that those school districts should be able to make those kind of judgments, and that in order to maintain
But they are
order,
able to make that kind of judgment. They are.
Right, and I'm wholeheartedly endorsing
but
that.
I'm going to put you in charge now, Heather. You're the principal. All right, look, in a school where you are in the D.C. area, Oakland Mills High, all right, they've outlawed doggy dancing, grinding, and front piggybacking. All right, that's where the girl wraps her legs around the guy. Is that enough? Is that enough for you?
I think that that is a great move, and it remains to be seen if that's enough, because obviously sometimes you make a restriction and then other forms of so-called dancing come into place. I think we need to define our terms here, too. I think it's a great misnomer to call this dancing. I think it's inappropriate sexual behavior and therefore should not be allowed at a school dance. And we have to remember, too, this is not just happening at high schools, it's happening at middle schools as well. And so I think we need to send a strong message as to what is appropriate behavior in a school, and I think that you're hard-pressed to say that this kind of behavior, which is very sexual in nature, should be allowed on a school campus.
All right, doctor, what do you say?
You know, if I was called in as the consultant, they said, what should we do, doctor? I'd probably say if there was some political pressure to ban it, ban it. But I would say also, maybe if girls are being forced to do it, which I've heard, it's intimidating to girls, ban it.
But that's a different issue.
Or for any reason, ban it. But I would try to get the bigger picture. What should you really do with your time and money? I think when we look back at this, we're going to look back at this as we look back at things that were written in the 1800s about the evils of dancing, or even about the waltz.
Well, wait a minute now.
They really were in religious groups, Bill.
Hold on. Well, let me just define the problem. All right, I'm in high school and I'm doing disco dancing. This you remember that, John Travolta? Okay, up and down and all of that. Okay, come on. But there's pelvic thrusting and
but wait,
stuff.
you know, people had great problems with some of the things that we look back now and laugh about. I just wanted
like what?
Well, the waltz.
The waltz?
The Charleston, where girls were thrown
that's way before my time.
Thrown under the legs of guys.
I'm not talking about fanatics. I'm talking just regular folks.
The twist.
No, nobody had a problem with the twist.
Yes, they did. They did have problems. I heard about problems. It was considered too sexual. But
look, I was in St. Bridget's school. I could do the twist, and if the nuns would let you do the twist, come on, go ahead.
But I do want to say one thing.
It's a parent's prerogative to be able to say these are the boundaries, and those boundaries should be reflected in the school district's policies. And you know that parents are speaking out about Elvis Presley's pelvic thrusts. That's a parent's prerogative, and it's a good thing they did that, because if they weren't doing that, who knows how far they would have gone.
Yeah, but Heather, if you're not going to have any pelvic action, you're not going to have a dance, all right? I mean, that's just rhythm. That's just rhythm.
Fine, but I'm saying that this kind of dancing, so-called dancing that we're seeing today, is not
Yeah, I can
dancing.
see when the two couples come together. All right, doctor, what do you want to say?
But, you know, it's just amazing to me how we spend our time talking about banning dancing. When I happen to flip on MTV...
I'm not trying to ban dancing.
Heather, do I have to come down there? Do I have to come down there and scold you? Let the doctor finish, and then you can jump in.
Turn on MTV, VH1, any of the video channels. These kids, since the age of 3, have been so overexposed to sex. And we live in a society that's so narcissistic, exhibitionistic, and hypersexualized, to use some big psychiatric terms, that it's amazing to me that this is going to be a little blip on the curve.
But
These
doctor,
children...
wait. You got to start somewhere, okay? You got to, you know, if you start in a school and say, look, when we have a dance in this school, all right, we don't want to have copulating simulation on the dance floor. That's not allowed. We're not going to allow you to touch your partner in any area that's inappropriate. Now, if you start imposing rules, doctor, all the way down the line, okay, then you start to erode the problem, do you not?
Not necessarily. I think you have to go to the root cause of the problem. And the root cause of the problem is, it's like a do as I say,
then you got censorship, doctor. Then you're into the censorship area. You can't have that.
Well, but you have to go and you have to educate parents. You educate children about sex and meaningful relationships. You go to MTV. You say, look, stop exposing the... You know, even the commercials.
Doctor, I'm exhausted even listening to you. I mean, you got to impose some discipline on children. That's what it's all about. Go ahead, Heather.
But that won't solve the whole problem.
I think that's what needs to be underscored here. These are children. They're not adults. They need boundaries. They actually want boundaries. And the idea that MTV is selling them sex, that doesn't give the school district's license to therefore allow this kind of dancing to go on. We should be able to say to these kids that, you know, as you said, simulated copulation is not allowed on the dance floor. Dancing should be allowed on the dance floor. And as to how loosely that's defined, that should be up to each individual school district.
Right.
I'm not trying to mandate what should take place.
I got it. Now, doctor, you can't solve the whole problem because the whole problem means you got 57,000 variations. I want to keep it in the dance floor because you can solve that problem.
Well, you can treat the behavioral symptoms. Yes, you can.
Each principal of every American public high school or private can say, look, this is what's appropriate, this is what isn't. If you go over the line, we remove you from the dance. What's wrong with that?
Do you really think adolescents are going to learn from that ban?
I don't care.
If this is going to become the forbidden fruit,
I don't care.
They're going to laugh.
All right, then they can go do the lambada in somebody's basement. Well, all right, but I'm the principal, and I'm putting up standards of behavior for the school.
And it makes it ever more exciting for most teenagers.
Well,
if they want to be ever more excited, they can be ever more excited down in Fort Lauderdale, but not in my high school gym. Go ahead, Heather.
And not every person, not every kid learns by doing. Some learn by observing. And for you to say this should not be done is sufficient for some kids not to do it. So I think it's therefore very important for us to articulate clearly what's expected of them.
All right, but the problem, Heather, is this, and the doctor's right in the sense that if you make something forbidden, if you make something off limits, then it becomes more attractive. But I say
to
again,
some people. To some people.
Yeah, for some people.
But the teenagers especially.
Yeah, rebellious teenagers. But each school has got to have standards. We've got to start to reimpose standards.
Exactly. As a doctor probably knows, given his own research, that study upon study shows that kids actually are listening to their parents, and they want to hear what their parents' standards are.
All right, I'm going to give the doctor the last word.
Well, they're listening to their parents. They're also rebelling against their parents, and we should never forget that adolescence reflects societal trends. So if sex is big in our society, it also reflects trends.
All right, doctor. Sex has always been big in every society, but you got to keep a cap on the kids. Doctor, Ms. Sirmo, thank you. Upcoming, a new book says that American women can be very, very cruel to each other. We'll get specifics as the Factor continues.
Now's the best time to buy a Suzuki XL7 with the powerful V6 engine. Third row of seats, rear conditioning. Plus, the Suzuki XL7 received the highest overall rating of good under the conditions of a recent IIHS crash test.
Oh, A+. Plus. Who's next?
Now lease an XL7 Plus for $269 a month with 2019 to start.
The lawn will look great by the time you get back, I promise.
It'll take a new lawn to keep that promise.
Your grass got you down? Keep that promise with the new and affordable lawn exchange from ProGrass. ProGrass, your Northwest lawn experts for decades, are pros at turning troubled lawns into gorgeous grass. Lawn exchange is affordable and fast. We're done in a day. Your new lawn is just a call away, so order the lawn exchange at 800 ProGrass. ProGrass, we build lawns from the ground up.
Smile. We're celebrating our anniversary here at Furniture Outlet. And this month only, we're offering some very special ways to save you money. It's the Funky Sofa Contest. Bring in a photo of your old sofa and get $50 off a new one. And the photo of the most well-used sofa wins a new sofa. Stop by Furniture Outlet and help us celebrate our anniversary. Brighten your home with a new sofa. We really are the friendly and fun place to save.
And now your host of Pizza Talk, Billy Sardell.
To all of you pizza fans who've asked the question, what will Roundtable think of next? I got the answer for you. Behold. The Mamazella pizza pie. It's the mother of all pizzas. It's freshly baked with pepperoni, salami, and linguiça. 3 cheeses, and it's topped with seasoned strips or golden crust. Oh, Mama.
The new Mamazella pizza pie is here, and it's only at Roundtable.
Don't travel the world for the unique and unusual. We already have. Hi, I'm Ellie with City Liquidators. Come see our huge selection of wool rugs, or try this high-heeled shoe trip for $1.99. Angel clock, $39, or maybe you need a fountain. Or a hand-painted screen. Remember, we have over 500 mirrors and prints in stock. City Liquidators Furniture Warehouse, a great place for accessories.
In the back of the book segment tonight, a new book called Woman's Inhumanity to Woman is causing some controversy. With us now, the author, Dr. Phyllis Chesler, a psychotherapist and second-wave feminist. Wow. What's a second-wave feminist?
Oh, I began being a fighter for women's rights in the late 1960s. That makes me a second-wave feminist. And at the time, we didn't understand that women, like men, are aggressive and sexist. So, for example, you'll have a male boss who really yells at you, and you'll say, well, guys are like that. It's not personal. If you have a female boss and she yells at you, the women will say, who does she think she is? She can't get away with that. Or you'll have your best friend run off with your husband, and you've told her all your secrets. Or you'll have taunting. Teenage girls will taunt each other about how they look. Or if you bring a lawsuit in your office claiming sexual harassment, the other women might stop talking to you.
All right, so the first wave feminists, they saw that women, or they believe that women could do no wrong or were better than men or more noble. And the second wave feminists say, women are worse than men?
No, 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 no. We are no better and no worse. We're as close to the apes as to the angels.
All right. Here's one of the provocative statements that the doctor writes in her book. Women are pre-programmed to be mean, aggressive, sexist, and competitive to other women. Yeah, I know some really nice women who don't do that.
No, women, like men, can be very kind, very compassionate, and they can turn on a dime. Also, women...
All women?
No, 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 not all women. Most women.
Most.
A lot of the time. Not all women.
How do you know it's most women?
Oh, God,
Maybe it's just the women you hang around.
No, no, no. I interviewed about 500 women.
Yeah. And they told you they were mean?
No, no. They had stories of they expected the next woman to be a fairy godmother, and then she turned into the evil stepmother, and they didn't see the trouble coming, and it led to their being fired. So women have high expectations for other women.
I want to, my expertise in this area is limited, but one thing I do know is kids. When I was teaching high school, I taught both boys and girls, all right? And I saw cruelty on both sides. It was a different kind of cruelty. The boys were more aggressive and macho. The girls were more passive-aggressive and snipping about how they look. What is this how they look deal? Because that's where the hurt comes in, mocking when women mock each other about their appearance. What is the genesis of that?
Well, boys come right up to you and they'll hit you, and then the next day they'll play with you again. Girls, the minute a best friend tells secrets, your secrets, you never talk to her again, and you turn the entire third-grade class against her. So that girls are very cowardly. They don't stand up to bullying, and because they're afraid that they'll be taunted next, that they'll be shunned next. So they try to fit in, they try to conform, they try to all be alike as a way of remaining connected, because being connected to other girls and women...
All right, but guys would you never have a guy go up and say, hey, your hair looks stupid, all right? I mean, guys don't do that, all right? But women do that all the time. They'll give a backhanded compliment or something like that.
Yeah, but guys will kill you.
Yeah,
and
but I'm
steal
interested in women. I don't care about guys. I mean, guys are boring.
No, but
women are
beings,
interesting to
all
me.
of us.
All right, so what is the appearance-driven meanness? Where does that come from?
Because women, beginning with girls, envy anyone who's prettier or smarter or more successful because it shows them up.
Isn't it the same way for men, though? Don't they envy better athletes?
No. Some interesting study. Boys love when somebody in their gang becomes head of the football team. Whereas when a girl has a cheerleader suddenly from your gang, they cut her loose because they figure, who does she think she is?
So this is genetic?
Well, I did a review of the primate studies, and we are a little bit hardwired, just like men, towards being competitive toward each other. Sometimes
but doesn't that take you back to getting a mate? That you have to compete for a mate?
Yes, but just because we're now beyond just competing for a mate doesn't mean that the hard wiring is still not within us. And we can also transcend it.
All right, last question for you. How do you treat someone, a woman, who's mean to you?
Oh, this just happened to me. I really try not to take it personally, not to hold a grudge. I try to talk it through as quickly as possible so that we can get on. That's what I do.
What happened? What did somebody say to you?
We ended up hugging each other.
What did they do to make you mad?
Oh, well, that's too complicated.
Generally, was it an appearance attack?
It was a competition and a lot of sulking over not winning the competition with me, and I didn't know we were competing.
I see.
And
then, but you took it upon yourself to diffuse the situation.
Yes.
And is that the right way to always handle things?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah?
In the here and now, we can learn from men rules of engagement. How do you fight? How do you fight fair? How do you end the fight? How do you have a beer after the fight is over?
All right. And this is fascinating. And one more thing. My way to stop this kind of meanness is to make it very difficult for somebody to do that by saying, if you do it, you're going to be punished. You're going to be hurt. All right? So if you attack me, my family, my program, we're going to make your life really unpleasant. That's worked great for me.
But maybe girls and women don't feel that they can follow through on that.
Ah.
Okay,
So they have to be more...
They have to process it. You have to talk it through and use reason and sort of intimacy intelligence.
Second wave feminism, everybody. There it is. Doctor, thanks very much. We appreciate it. Next, we'll wrap things up. The most ridiculous item of the day and some of your mail.
At FoxSports.com, our fantasy sports are just a little different. Introducing Reggie Jackson's Fantasy Baseball. Play a new game every day. Win big cash every day. Got it? Play every day, win every day. Only at FoxSports.com.
All right, ladies, hit the showers. Years ago, this boy fell victim to a child abductor. Now you know him as Busy Bone from the rap group Bone Thugs and Harmony. Hear how John Walsh saved him from a childhood nightmare.
I never told nobody.
America's Most Wanted, all new, Saturday on Fox. When it comes to selecting a mate, why is it always up to bachelors?
I'm going on a manhunt.
Ladies, now it's your turn to choose.
Decisions. Which one am I going to pick?
On June 2nd, 5 single women travel to Alaska, where 50 rugged bachelors
Each one of these guys is ready to be married.
will try to win their hearts.
How would you like to go on a date, darling?
Right.
Now, in a place where men outnumber women more than anywhere else,
He's a hunk of burning love. And he likes me.
the game is on, and the prize is marriage.
I fell in love with her right off the bat.
This summer, we're heating up.
Did you see his body? Whoa.
The coolest place on earth.
I'm completely in love with him. I would move anywhere for love.
Bachelorettes in Alaska. A new series coming June 2nd to Fox.
Meet Americans who stand ever ready to help the families of the fallen heroes of special ops. Then, stranded in shark-infested waters, the amazing story of the survivors of the USS Indianapolis. Plus, America's premier military institution celebrates 200 years. We take you to West Point. It's a special edition of Heroes with John Kasich.
I'm Edie Donahue. Tomorrow on Fox and Friends, the search is over, but the investigation isn't. How and why did Chandra Levy die? Join us at 6 a.m. Eastern.
Time now for the most ridiculous item of the day. A convicted rapist is suing the hospital where he committed a rape. Edward Brewer filed a lawsuit in Sandusky, Ohio, charging the hospital failed to provide enough security to protect visitors and patients, so the rape was the hospital's fault. Brewer is serving 10 years for raping a woman with cerebral palsy at that hospital, if you can believe it. And he filed his suit from prison. Two things. This thug should be serving 20 years, not 10. And when that suit is thrown out, he should have to pay all court costs associated with it. Ridiculous, you bet? Also infuriating. And finally tonight, tons of mail about the story we broke where members of the Mexican army illegally entered the United States in Arizona and shot at a U.S. Border Patrol agent. Chico Fowler, Omaha, Nebraska. Bill, I was shocked and appalled, as you were, by this incident. My question is, why haven't the other networks reported this? Because most of the national media follow the lead of the New York Times, which has not covered the story. There is a pack mentality, especially in television news. Some Arizona papers are now on the case, but it is not PC to criticize Mexico right now. Wayne McGregor, Littleton, Colorado. Let me see if I've got this right. The Democrats want Hispanic votes, and the Republicans want cheap labor, so no one wants to confront the issue of border security and corruption. Republicans want Hispanic votes too, Mr. McGregor. Doris Dodd, Hood River, Oregon. President Bush signs into law a huge farm subsidy bill, but border agents don't have funds to purchase vehicles. What's wrong with this picture? Sue Grant, Farmingdale, New York. Mr. Bush is losing my vote by ignoring the chaotic border situation. Sherry Ward, Sierra Vista, Arizona. Bill, I'm originally from Massachusetts and now live just a few miles from the border. I am appalled by the lack of support for U.S. authorities down there. And while we're on the subject of Massachusetts, plenty of reaction to our segment on Senator John Kerry and Cardinal Law. Gail Fole, Evanston, Indiana. Bill, you are right to ask Senators Kerry and Kennedy to insist that Cardinal Law resign. Separation of church and state is one thing. Separation of church and law is another. A.J. Schmidt, Des Moines, Iowa. Hey, Bill, you are just trying to set Kerry and Kennedy up because they are Democrats. Linda Taylor, Hot Springs, Arkansas. The day Kerry and Kennedy speak out against Cardinal Law is the day we put our military on the border. Sonny Gerard, Boca Raton, Florida. O'Reilly, congratulations on confronting the German ambassador on his country's fear-based policy towards Iraq. Jack Michiri, Honolulu. O'Reilly, you are way off base regarding the demonstrations in Europe. They're not protesting against the USA, but against Bush. Sam Sage, Tempe, Arizona. Let's call these protests what they are. Jealousy rallies. Oliver Holtaway, Bath, England. Mr. O'Reilly, I'm an American living here, and Europeans are not really jealous of us. They just put themselves first. Raquel Riviera, Ford, Mission Viejo, California. Mr. O, it hurts that you continue to attack my church. I hope you change before I tune you out. Hey, I'm a Catholic too, Raquel, and it's no fun covering this awful story, but there is corruption within the church, and that corruption has hurt children. It's my job to expose it and hold people accountable, and that's what I'm going to do. How about that website, www.foxnews.com/O'Reilly. If you're looking for Father's Day gifts, we have Factor Gear. We have signed books. We have all kinds of good stuff. And we also have the interview with John Kerry posted on the website if you want to get on it and check it out. Also, how about emailing us with some pithy comments? O'Reilly@foxnews.com. O'Reilly@foxnews.com. Name in town, name in town, name in town if you wish to opine. Also, I just wrote a brand new column for WorldNetDaily.com. It's on the two opposing forces within the Catholic Church. They're now fighting